Coming down the Columbia River is coming home for Sherry. She grew up out here, and while she loves living in our little Appalachian town the rest of the year, there's no substitute for summer in the Northwest. Each summer, we spend a month or so camped on the Columbia River at the James family ranch, land which had been owned by Sherry's grandparents and is now in the care of her parents. This is a singular place, with osprey, deer, coyote, and beaver just at the edge of our camp. We visit with the family and try to savor every one of the perfect Northwest summer evenings out here, often staying up to watch the moon rise over the Columbia. This year, we made plans to travel to the San Juan Islands north of Seattle to visit the Nature Conservancy's Yellow Island Preserve. Our instructions were to meet Robin Stanton, who works on media relations for the Nature Conservancy in Washington, on the ferry from Anacortes to Friday Harbor on San Juan Island. Once we got to Friday Harbor, Phil Green, the Yellow Island Preserve Steward, met us for the 15-minute boat ride to the island. Yellow Island is a unique place. It's a small preserve, just 11 acres, but also includes a marine preserve in the waters around it. It has an interesting history, and Phil told us a bit about the place.
The Nature Conservancy bought the island in 1980 from the Dodd family, and they realized they had something special here. The Nature Conservancy did an evaluation of it and decided that it was a special place, and it's special because of the native prairies here. The fact that it is intact, that it never has been grazed, it's never been farmed, so it's pretty much the way it's been probably for thousands of years.
Which made Yellow Island an ideal addition to the Nature Conservancy's broader plans in Washington State.
In Washington State, the Nature Conservancy has helped to protect over 500,000 acres of land, and we work in all the habitats of Washington. We're in the shrub steppe, we're in the forest, we're in the estuaries and the rivers, and Yellow Island is one of our smaller preserves, but it's a really important preserve for us because we're able to study prairie processes here, and we're also doing baseline research for marine conservation here.
And just like in other areas of the country, the Nature Conservancy's strategy for preserving and protecting life has become a pragmatic, wide-ranging approach.
The Nature Conservancy started out by buying little pieces of property or big pieces of property and protecting those pieces. But we're learning that you can't just take this little island and protect it. You have to work in the larger landscape, and we need to work to preserve functioning ecosystems. So we have to work in the larger landscape. So that means we have to work with people. We have to be able to have people be able to live and play and work in the areas that we're trying to protect and preserve.
And people have always been a part of this small prairie landscape in one way or another.
We believe Native Americans have burned the island perhaps since the last ice age, or as long as they've been in the San Juans anyway. And if they had not been here doing that, then this would no longer be prairie. They perhaps stopped this 150 years ago or so. And as you look at the central portion of the island, you'll see a heavy understory layer, and that is moved in that time frame. We actually have pictures of the islands from 1895, which shows scattered old-growth firs, no madrones, which you see today, no understory layer. And so we know that ecologically it's been changing just within the last 150 years. And the Conservancy has decided that because this island has co-evolved with a human presence, that they want to take it back to that stage and keep it in that state of native prairie.
After the completion of a 5-year plan for prairie restoration, which started in 1988, the island is now burned 2 acres at a time on a rotating basis each year, simulating how native people would have maintained this prairie in the past. Then they painstakingly collect and germinate seed to replant native grasses and forbs.
Okay, this is the planting area where we grow native grasses to transplant back out onto the island. What we have going here is a native grass called Elamus glaucus, or blue wild rye, and we just seeded this 2 days ago, which is why you don't see much going on, but in about a week we should have a nice germination here. And then in the fall we have a nice cadre of volunteers who will come out, and it'll take 3 days perhaps of crews of 6 to 8 people to plant this on the island in the area that we burn this summer.
And the preservation and protection the Nature Conservancy offers doesn't stop at the shoreline.
Yellow Island is in the middle of a marine protected area, so 300 yards around Yellow Island, and also our neighboring Low Island here, 300 yards around that, which totally closes us off in between. Is closed to both bottom fishing and salmon fishing. Was set aside in 1989, and just recently through the work of the Nature Conservancy, it was originally set aside to be closed just for bottom fish. But one of the problems with salmon fishing is you catch bottom fish as bycatch. So the Nature Conservancy went to the Salmon Board and actually got it close to salmon fishing also, so that we don't no longer have this problem of bycatch in the area here.
That marine preserve, while small in comparison to the immense Puget Sound, gives endangered bottom fish a chance to spawn in peace. That peace brings other species to the island as well, although some may be rowdier than others.
We do have nesting crows on the island. Some people hate crows. We find them part of the local entertainment. We actually had 100 crows leave the island this morning. They kind of do a commute back and forth to Friday Harbor and often fly back with french fries and things like that. We also have just 3 mammals that we have on island on a regular basis. That's mink and otter den on the island. But then the seals around the island actually use both ends of the island for giving birth and nursing their young. The outer rocks that you'll see when you walk around are haul-out sites, so we have a resident population of about 150 seals.
Those seals were a particular novelty to our Midwestern kids. Winter and Sylvie were generally impressed with life in and around the Puget Sound's tide pools. As we hiked around the island, we came in contact with its recent history, marking the human presence on the island just before the Nature Conservancy became its caretaker.
We're standing at the gravesite of Lou and Tib Dodd. Each have a plaque over their graves, and on Lou's plaque is a poem called Somehow by the poet Don Blanding. Blanding isn't giving any credit on this plaque. In fact, we've been told that this poem by Don Blanding is not written in any of his published works, and if you want to read it, you have to come to Yellow Island and read the plaque. So, Somehow by Don Blanding. I've tried for many an hour and minute to think of this world without me in it. I can't imagine a newborn day without me here somehow, some way. I cannot think of the autumn's flare without me here, alive, aware. I can't imagine a dawn in spring without my heart awakening. These treasured days will come and go at swifter pace, but this I know. I have no fear, I have no dread of that marked day that lies ahead. My flesh will turn to ash and clay, but I'll be here somehow, some way.
Pondering the idea of our smallness in the universe as individuals seemed right somehow on a perfect day like this, even comforting. But Yellow Island, as small as it may be in this larger landscape, has something profound to say nonetheless.
Yellow Island, we've had this for a preserve for about 28 years, and one of our scientists, Peter Dunwoody, started coming out here as a graduate student and has been collecting data on the plant community of Yellow Island for all those 28 years. So we have a really valuable record of how things have changed. And one of the pieces of data that he's collecting is the date of first bloom. Many of the species are blooming on an average of about 25 days earlier than they were when he started out here. So he's doing some additional monitoring now to look at, to correlate that with weather data, with the temperature here and the temperature in Friday Harbor. To look, so we really have a record of how climate change is affecting the plants on this island.
Or depending on how you look at it, what that early bloom has to tell us about climate change. As usual, we found the people of the Nature Conservancy to be dedicated and passionate. Knowing that folks like Phil Green and Robin Stanton are helping to make sure places like Yellow Island and the life which depends on it are preserved and protected makes us rest just a bit easier.
And it's really important to me. I feel like it's part of my principles of how I want to live my life to help protect the world for all of us, for the animals, for the plants, and the people that live here. It's a core value for me.
And a value they've helped us to teach our kids, the next generation of conservationists, on this incredible Northwest summer day. And that's it for this time. Be sure to tune in next time for the final installment of the Green Family Summer Adventure Series. Keep up with our journey and learn more about what you can do to help conservation efforts through the Nature Conservancy at greenfamilysummer.com. Stay tuned.